So leading into my next guest, who is a truly unique individual. I've spent like literally hours watching her awesome YouTube channel. Like you got these YouTube channels that like you start to watch them and you're just like, man, I don't know, you know. But this guest is like, after 18 minutes and it's over, I'm like, okay, next video, please. So she's my next guest, and she's the second guest that I have on this new format. Her name is Nichole Kolman, and she brings like a different perspective to relationship advice, I guess you could say. It's not just like romantic, but all kinds of connections that you have. And she puts her own mark on dating in particular. She brings 20 years of experience of being a champion athlete, something that I can't touch because, you know, I don't do any of that stuff. I used to. Long time ago, I used to play sports, but then I got into music and no more sports for me. But she also has a career in sports nutrition, and she's an international trainer and has been invited to speak at seminars all over the place. And she does countless radio shows and podcasts like this one. And she talks about her relationship concepts in particularly. So please, if you have a chance, do like I did and go to her YouTube page, and we'll direct you to where that's at here in a little bit, and watch every single one of her videos. She's extremely passionate about her craft and wants to relate to her audience that when it comes to relationships, there is freedom out there from like past traumas. You don't have to bring that shit with you. And it's freeing us from like that fight or flight mode that is ingrained into us. Like it's a natural part of our brain, but you can kind of just like, you know, set that aside and live for now. And I think if I were to do that more often, I would have more successful relationships, because I have right now 0 successful relationships. Please welcome Nichole Kolman from www.nicholekolman.com. And she's on Instagram, Nichole Kolman, which is NICHOLEKOLMAN _. And then YouTube, A Message in a Bottle, Nichole Kolman. And you can read a lot about this stuff in her book, The Wisdom of the Penis. SOS Manual. That you have to include that too. SOS Manual. I need to start out with so I've been told one of the reasons that you stuck out to me a lot is because I've been told that I carry traits of an empath, and I've known that for a long time. And recently, I don't claim that I am an empath. I don't claim that I, you know, have any special powers or anything. But recently, I was told that I had some traits of Heyoka empaths. And so in my research, I found you. And I'm going to let you explain what exactly that is. And I want to make sure that our audio is... I'm pretty sure we're good. Before we start getting into it, I just want to make sure that was good. So let me let you explain who you are, what you do, and what exactly a Heyoka empath is for our viewers and listeners.
First, let me tell you how fucking thorough you are with your homework. Oh my God. It's kind of like you picked up all these gems in a top jewelry store, and the audience now is like, well, how did you make this stone? How did this bracelet come together? Because you said some very poignant things, and I'm going to get into that, but my mouth was watering. So I want to thank you for such a glorious introduction.
Oh, no problem. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on here. Like I said, I've watched all your videos. I've read a lot of the stuff on your website, which is www.nicholekolman.com. And it's just so fascinating. I mean, you don't just specialize in one thing. You've got a lot, you speak a lot, and it really touches, me, and I'm sure it's going to touch a lot of other people that I know. And there's a fan page for you, for Christ's sakes. So
You're getting me so fucking hot, man. First of all, I think it's what just came out at me as you were talking, so that your people know it's not a typical Nichole. It's spelled N-I-C-H for Heyoka, O-L-E. And my mom put the H in a long time ago for biblical spiritual reasons or something. And it just dawned on me now that, isn't that funny? Now I can say the H for Heyoka. Where do I start? Let me just skim so people understand how I'm going to tie in the whole athletic mindset, body, organs, health, relationships, Heyoka, and empathic. And you are totally with many gifts. There is no one that is creative. And I already know you are a creative genius that is not into empath and Heyokaness, because it's about creativity, and I'll get to that. I have always been weird, with many weird experiences. But even though people said, you're so weird, or like, where do you come from? They always said it in awe, not like you're strange and get away from me, more like, where do you come from? Like, I can't have enough of what you're saying. When I talk to young adults and I get one question, they bring their friends and they're like, as soon as she speaks, okay, you're never going to have enough of her. I'm just letting you know, just saying. And it would always amaze me. And then it got to understanding what animals would be talking to me about and how I would know what was coming up. And that includes trees. And if we have time, I can get into that. I didn't always know what it was that I had or was, although the world continued to reflect it over and over and over again. But because I managed to derail my bullies, and even though I was an isolated kid, befriend the top popular people or producer or boss or the bully. I never dealt with middle ground people, but to get out of a bully situation, I was insightful to see where I was blamed was not the truth, and I was able to see from behind her eyes, and I was able to say the truth, because I get things visually and I get things in sentence form. So I didn't like the word, you're psychic. Oh my God, you're psychic, because everyone would drag me to the nearest lottery thing. And I'm like, I'm not, even my mother, please just do one for me. I'm like, there's just something in me, Mom. I just can't. I don't want to. But it doesn't matter if you don't get it. I'm like, no, I'll get it. But I'm not doing it. Or tell me when I'm getting married, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. So.
But let me interject there. Does psychic?
Yes.
Does it work that way? I mean,
Heyoka Empath. There are Heyoka Empath who feed off energies and receive energies, and I'm going to so clarify, because there's a lot of misinformation about it. And there are rare ones that are Heyoka Empaths and highly psychic. I never felt good with the word psychic because I saw it as a hit and miss. And I kept saying to people, don't give me that P word. I don't like it. But the type of things that I was doing was very strange. Like, I'd see a girl in the gym. It was a woman. She's dressed in tight white snug suit, red lipstick. I'm like, oh, she looks really crisp and clean. I'm like, oh my God. And then I saw it's not like I saw a movie. It's more like I just know. Just like you seeing someone that you just know you're going to love. When people ask me how did you feel? It's a knowing. And what that knowing was that I went up to her, I put my hands on her shoulders and I said, listen, first of all, you look absolutely beautiful. She didn't even mind that I was just another woman putting my hands on her shoulders, right? That was strange as it is. And I looked her in the eye and I said, you are absolutely stunning. But I want you to know that this impurity that you feel in your heart, which is why you had to wear everything white, and then this red lipstick, which tells me it's a sexual indiscretion you just did, because you think that it's something you did that you're so dirty about. But what you don't know is about 4 days ago, you had this and this done to you with the person you're involved with. Now, who the fuck does that? But I knew what I knew. And she starts crying more and more. Finally, after about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of like hugging me and snot on my shoulder, like really, really crying, she thanks me. She pulls me aside and she's like, who are you? Like, what's your name? Right after all that. And I told her and I hugged her, and it was different. I've done things like that to men too, but with men, especially a big fat burly man in a gym, some little girl with a heavy, like a lot of loose sweats. I'm like, yo, come here. And a guy is like 45 years, he goes, excuse me, especially in an area of town where there's a lot of, criminal activity like mafia type people hidden. And that's what he was. I could tell, but I said, come here. And I said, and I would look to the right because that's where I received my pictures. I said, right now you're going through this. And it would always be a metaphor. And when he finished, he just took my face and squished it on his hard belly, filled with gallbladder stones for sure, and almost cracked my nose because it was so tight. And he's like, you're my soulmate. I know you're my soulmate. All these experiences, there's never been a guy that doesn't say, I know you're my soulmate and I'm in love with you, including a guy that was a podcast person, my very first one, who told me he was in love with me the second day. Like, first day is, do you have a boyfriend? The last podcast show, are you married? Like, all the time, because I can actually jump into your body and sit behind your eyes, physically explaining that to you, but emotionally, that's what it is that happens. So it was when I was able to funnel it down, and I said to myself, it's not that I can predict future. I don't go future, I don't go past, but I can go into where you were, where you are, and where you're heading if you give me an issue. If you give me an issue, and this is part of the Heyoka Empath's gift, they can see like a mirror. And as I say on one of my videos, kind of like the Wicked Witch of the West mirror. Like, can you imagine if you had a mirror that would tell you what's up with you, why this person did this and that? I'm not quite like the Wicked Witch of the West mirror, because he really sounds like he's on Prozac. Like, do you even talk to a mirror talks like that? But I'd be like full color telling you, you're doing this right now, which is causing the guy to do this and this. Here's a domino effect. And it's so key because you hit on this, and it was brilliant how you segued into it, Jason. We're going into the Aquarian age. And the reason why, although I've been very blessed to be called guru of the dating world and all that with my insight, more accurately so, it's guru of the 5D dating world. And that's the Aquarian age.
You got to explain what this is.
Yes. D stands for spiritual dimension. 5 stands for the level of consciousness. Here's the key now.
Okay.
I hope your listeners are listening. This is big.
Right.
Everyone right now, for the most part, is locked into the 3D realm. And you know how? Because you have anger inside you. You have blame, you have guilt, you have shame. In order to get into the 5D, those landmines that can go off and get triggered with other people. So the new person triggers you about something the old person did, and then you are talking to the old person. That is your lizard brain, and it's fight or flight, survival. Now I got to get it out there at your new person you're attacking. So you are trapped in the past and fearful of your future at the same time. So you are caught.
On experiences that you've already had.
their energies locked in you, locking in the energy of pain and shame and guilt. And shame is the biggest taker of life. And so what I'm able to do, it's kind of, they've called me also, what's the word? Psychic psychologist. It's like a psychic surgeon, because if words come to me are directly tailored to your ears, Jason, your mental syntax, your emotional blueprint, your DNA, because truth resonates, truth is not man-made, it's natural. So it's going to resonate within your body. Now, if these words belong just to you, when your body hears it, it's kind of like a magic combination lock. It unlocks the energies trapping the pain. Now, the other thing that I do is I make sure you see it from a hawk view. A hawk always, when there's a storm, all the animals are scurrying along, but the hawk uses the wind of the storm to rise above the storm and has the wind carry it over. And like that, I take you to a point that's very high, that is a truth. And you know why the Bible says the truth sets you free? Because if it is the highest truth of what really went down at the seed, the innocent beginning, and I say that to you, intellectually you will be open. Now, when you go to a shrink, they say intellectual shit and you understand it, but it doesn't take away the pain. But if you have someone who can unlock the pain and intellectually clear you, because where there's clarity, fear can't enter. There's no need for it.
Right.
When you're able to do that, and that's what I do, then I can access you to your 5D realm of beginning to learn how to receive energies and reading energies of people. Why is that so important? Because now, if we do a dating thing, first of all, apps, I don't know how people do apps. Like, you can't even read energies off the screen. Like, it's just so, like, anybody can say anything. And most of your readers don't know this. And it's all outlined in my book, The Wisdom of the Penis. And you can get it on.
Let me fill you in on something. Most of the people on apps aren't even real.
Exactly. Oh my God. Well, thank you. That's so scary. And you know what? Yeah. Not only can anybody write anything, anybody use any picture, but see, I can look at a picture of a person's face and I see things. I have, one of my services is send me a picture of a boss you're about to audition for, or a person or anything. And I will give you characteristic traits, things about them that even they don't know, to give you the edge on how you're going to propose or say, I'm sorry, and it'll actually be taken in. So I have a picture of someone on an app. I can distill that and I can filter through it, but most people can't do that. Now, they're already not used to receiving your energies from other people, because when you meet someone, it's kind of like, how are you? Fine. Spit out shit back. You got the answer. It's coming out of your ass. Fine. Are like two book holders that it's not open-ended. You cannot, like, do you ever notice when dogs meet each other, they're not like, how are you? Fine. They look. Okay, I'm not asking you to sniff my ass, I'll sniff your ass, right? But they look, they wait,
that's some primal shit right there. Though,
that's a primal shit, and we're not saying it's all bad.
Humans do that. humans totally do that. You walk up to somebody and you
well, you need to smell the energy. That's the first gateway to learning how to read them. And so in order for us to go into the Aquarian age smoothly, in order to have radical acceptance and not be offended, triggered by someone's different opinion on politics or someone's butt or whatever, we would have to be free of our triggers. We would have to be free of embedded pain that's going gangrene right now inside.
Hey, I just wanted to share something with you. A couple years ago, it was about 2 years ago, I was in a composition class at a college here locally. and we had to do a research paper. And this paper that I did was, it was, and don't laugh because it's kind of weird, but it was amazing. You had to find a question that you were somewhat passionate about, ask the question, and try to answer it. And so, I had been single for a long time. I had tried being in relationships off and on for quite a while. I'm a single father, and my main concern over my daughter's 17. She'll be 17 in about 25 days, actually.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
She would love the book even more than you. It's written in their slang, like for real. Go on.
Well, I saw that. I saw that you write it and
but there's a reason.
lingo.
You need to go back there where all your shit was formed, right out of getting out of mommy and daddy mental conditioning.
Shit. I mean,
that's where it was frozen. Those things are still leading you in life, Jason.
I'm telling you, I know this, and it's like I'm so aware of where my difficulties are and where they were born that I've got no questions. It's how do I get the answers? But let me finish this little thing here. So my question was, should I date again? And should I try online dating? And so I had to answer this question in an essay and research. I had to research like what online dating was and, the statistics and all that. And what I uncovered is that there are studies that were done. Like I think the first online dating website was created like in the early 2000s. I can't remember if it was like eHarmony or Match or whatever. But anyway, throughout the years, these researchers, I can't remember what college it was, but they actually found that they can tell there was 3 different characteristics of communication that they could tell within 5 correspondences whether or not a couple would have a face-to-face meeting. Just from the first
Understandable.
5.
Yeah, pattern.
Yeah.
There are definitely patterns. Absolutely.
Right.
There's sequences and patterns that people have a domino effect with. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it was like it was really interesting. It was not just it was a lot less physical attraction, even though that was a key to swipe, right? You swipe left or right, but what came next was communication, and it goes both ways, right? So
can I tell you why?
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Before you continue to finish, that's really important what you said. The reason why the first thing is the visual and the second thing is the communication is because a man falls in love first visually.
Mm-hmm.
A woman falls in love first auditory. You say the right words in the right way, in the right tone, and it's open sesame, no matter what.
It's all tone. It's all tone.
Yes, I'd say tone first, then what you say and how you say it. And that's why later on in a relationship, if a guy's actions are down here and his words are all lovey-dovey over here, it doesn't make sense to the girl, the woman. Why did he send that emoji to that hygienist we just went to? I don't understand. Why? Because if the actions are not, and that's why I tell all my ladies, you don't listen to a guy's words, because there are wordsmiths guys over there that can, and especially you are killer tone land. You are kingpin tone. So if a guy is a smooth talker, player, he's going to have melodic flavoring to his words and to his poetic vision. And because of that, the girls are receptive to that. So that's why it doesn't matter that later on the warp of his personality is flaring. She cannot compute, understand, and have it transmit into her intellect why. She'll say why when it's obvious why. With you guys work in a whole different way. So all I'm saying is that the two interesting dynamics, and you put it in such an interesting way, that it just dawned on me right now as you're talking. Yes, guys, I like that girl, visual. Oh, and now let's see if we keep it, communication with the female. Yes. Makes total sense.
It's fascinating. Like I had no idea. I mean, you kind of, like for me, and this is kind of going on a tangent.
It's okay.
But like,
that's your feminine energy creative business going on. Go on.
Well, I usually know, and I don't claim to be psychic or any of that, but you know, I've had discussions with some friends lately, but it's definitely there. There's definitely intuition, and I usually know within the moment I lay my eyes on somebody, real, like in real life, IRL.
I love that, IRL.
Whether
that.
or not, thank you. Whether or not there's going to be fire, and whether and I don't know when it's going to be.
Well, that's because you're picking up her energy.
That's
and you being
true.
highly creative means your feminine energy is a lot higher, and it rules more than your masculine energy. And all that means is that you will tend to be extra emotional. You will tend to suffer in silence more. And you may be a little bit scattered. You may be...
I'm a Gemini, so...
Well, if you're a Gemini, then you pay attention to every single fucking detail.
I do.
Yes. And you're very quick in your mind and all that. But in terms of energies, there is, I would just thought of today, I said, I'm going to add to my website feminine energy checkoff list and a masculine energy, what they rule, checkoff list, so people know. And then I'm going to say for the girls, when you're off balance and too much in your masculine, and for the guys, when you're off balance and too much teetering on the feminine energy, there is going to be consequences. So it works on both ends of the spectrum. And this is why I feel so valued now with what it is that I'm chiseling, because the way the media has, I'll just say, lack for a better word, fucked with a woman's mind, in the sense that if you want to you show the guy that you're in charge, because it's about equality now. You show him you have confidence. You walk up to him, you ask him out, you have no fear. Who has the goods here, Jason? I do. Why would I have to do all the work, walk up to you, ask you your name, ask you if you want to come to a party? Oh my God, will he want me? Won't I? Am I good enough? Is my hair good enough? And go through all these like self-esteem issues as if I don't have enough, you know, vagina smudge in your face, like sniff, do you like? And like, I don't know in your sex ed class, but in mine, the egg never put on her running shoes and ran after 50 billion sperm. The sperm run after the egg for very good reason. And so what's happened is, yes, equality in the career, but when they've overspilled that to the romantic arena, and they're leveling off the playing field, like, I don't know what man wants all those hills and valleys leveled off, because that's a sweet spot to like dive into. But now you're leveling off the playing field with a woman. And so where women ruled the romantic arena, we ruled. We're now being demoted to equality. You do me, I do you. Like, what the fuck is that? That is not romance and spark. That's two soldiers going parallel. That's not equilibrium, where I celebrate your strengths and you celebrate mine. That's why there's competition now when a girl makes more, or a woman makes more, or then he goes, because how can it be anything but competition if it's leveling? You level off the playing field for competition. So not only has it overlapped into an area that we were up here and now we're being demoted, it's very demoralizing for a divine feminine energy born, inherited in this life, it's her birthright, to run after a man that you were once put in a divine feminine energy spot, which is basically, you show me what you're bringing to my life, because I'm aware of everything that just, do you know that when a woman's very anchored in her strength of her femininity, just standing next to you, like if I was sitting next to you, actually this will work a lot too, but if I was sitting next to you, I'd be enhancing your whole entire immune system just sitting next to me.
Oh, I do not doubt it.
But you see, most women now, because they are chasing, and first of all, just when you chase anything, it pushes it away. The mere energy of chasing pushes something away. Attract a man. Hello. What do you think law of attraction is? It's pure feminine energy. Now the women are like, I don't know, I just can't, have a hard time putting myself first. Why do you think? Because you're fucking locked in your head, because masculine energy rules logic. It rules logic, responsibility, being sacrificial, over-giving. You wonder why your guy doesn't want to give you back. You've given him this. He's like a giant snake. So you've given him a rodent and he's like swallowing. He hasn't even finished gulping. You give him more. Okay. And then you give him more. And now he's choking. I need some space. Of course he does. A man needs to be hungry at all times, to want to be fed, to be inspired to do what it is that you need to be put in the right environment for you to cook nicely. And that means you being happy, because yes, a man understands that a woman can have problems and this and that, but don't think this is not affecting you guys, because when a woman is predominantly in her masculine energy and she's locked in her head, first of all, I can't turn off my head. She's just engaged from her feelings. They're on mute. So now, forget reading energy. She can't even read her feelings. There's no permission, because feelings are seen as a weakness because they're overruled by the strength of her mind and seen as weak, which makes the guys passive as fuck. Because now when a woman leaves her job or the playing field, because as an entrepreneur or a sports person, we all have to have balls. It's a competitive world. But when we don't leave our balls at the gym or at the court and we take it home to our man, last we checked, was a masculine energy, two similar energies will collide, because only opposites attract. So if the woman is very assertive, she's her own boss, she organizes, she's going to organize your life, she's going to tell you what to do, she's going to put you in compartments and on a schedule, and you're going to feel like you're lacking something, because although it's very flattering to have women run after you as a guy, it doesn't stop there. This is why they become territorial. Do
you think there's are there exceptions to that rule when you say, like opposites attract? Do you think there might be exceptions? Like, it's hard to explain, but I'm sure that there is sometimes two alphas get together.
No,
I'm sure that the dynamics.
No. What'll happen is two business people, yes, they can get together, but when they're together, and it's not only alpha, only beta, whatever the term is, it's not that you don't switch, but in the beginning, if it is not whatever is established, if the girl's establishing herself as a chaser, and the guy is like, I wait. You know how many guys come to me? It's like, I don't know how to approach a girl. I'm like, dude, you got a penis. It points for a reason. Go get the friggin' girl. It's like your balls aren't going to be snipped and it's going to roll out the door if she says no. It's just a word. But guys are becoming extra timid, extra passive, which clears the ways for the narcs, for the players, for the manipulators, and the ghostwriters. That's a problem.
Let me ask you some clarification, because I've heard you use that term narcs in
Narcissist.
several.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
got you. That
Yes.
makes total sense now.
So it's not that, when you have one guy who's super creative, it doesn't mean that he won't be with another woman who's super creative, but one of them is going to be more into the admin and the money, organizing all that, and the other one is just going to want to be creative. That's how you're going to fit into the pegs into the holes. That's why you have a peg and she has a hole. If she, and even in those same peg, same sex, one is the leader and one is more into pampering and more frilly, and or just likes to be more happy. Because when these women come to me and they say, I have problems with my guy, and I don't like to attack them and tell them what I see from the get-go. They need to realize it on their own. So I asked them a couple of poignant questions like, well, Julie, in this argument that you think you're right and he thinks he is right, I'm going to ask you one question. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Which is most important to you? If being right is more important than being happy, you're a masculine energy dominant person. You see, if I meet a guy that's a leader, I know he needs to be right, because for me to not win him over, but argue him down, I no longer can look up to him. And so he's going to fight me. And I tell my women, even if you win, you lose, because a guy is arguing for the sake of just to remain respectable. Don't argue with the guy. Tell him what you don't like. Tell him what you're uncomfortable. Tell him what you feel like. Don't, even when you say in the nicest way, I want you to do this, honey. It's going to sound like an order. But honey, I feel like this, or I'm uncomfortable with this. That's talking from a girl's feelings. That's not going to threaten you.
Wow. So, okay, in the relationship, okay, we're establishing kind of the roles, I guess you could say. Now, when these
careful with the word role.
I know that's why I said
maybe we'll get a better word. Say your question. Go ahead.
Well, my question is the dynamics. Okay.
Good word. Okay.
Yeah. So when we're establishing the dynamics, and
in the beginning,
you all have passed the sniff test, and
yeah, that's so cute.
And right, and so you've moved on, and so you're courting, and
you're sniffing other parts now. Go on.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of sniffing going on, and,
right?
Yeah. And so now we're a thing, and so
when you say we're a thing, are we a thing because you assume we're a thing because we casually exchange body fluids, or are we a thing because you wanted to establish a parameter and you are saying to your woman, I want us to be a thing, and I want it clear, and I'm going to make it clear to others that we are a thing, so it's exclusive. That thing?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when the dynamics are established and you're starting to become like you're in a relationship now, what, in your expert opinion,
this is going to be such a good question. Yeah.
It's still developing.
It's still percolating. Yes, that's how good it is.
What do you, in your expert opinion, see when somebody the role of communication? We all know that communication is probably
key,
the number one thing for a successful relationship.
And we should also add that it's not done just through words.
Right.
Okay. That's key.
Okay.
People can say many things. That's not really communicating. People can communicate with a look. A guy can communicate with his action. He doesn't say, I love you every 30 seconds. He does things, he goes things, he fixes things. There's different ways that a male energy and a female energy communicates. And we're still building the question. Go on.
Yes, the question is coming soon.
One of my t-shirts, it says the wisdom of the penis. On the back, it says coming soon. I haven't released it yet, but you're so getting one. Okay, go on.
Okay. I'll wear it.
Okay, I know you will. Yeah.
So, okay, say you're in the initial stages, and
is that the first 3 months or after?
Yes. No,
3 months? The first 3 months? Okay.
Yeah, the first 3.
Okay. The fairy tale phase when there's still like stardust in your eyes. That part?
Right.
Okay, 90 days. Yes.
Okay. So here's my question.
At this point, she farts and doesn't shave her legs, and it looks like dreadlocks, and you cut your toenails on the table.
I don't know if that would fly, but the first one, no, who cares? Nobody cares
exactly. Exactly.
Why do people totally ignore red flags?
Oh, I'll tell you why. And it's not something that I think. It's an insight that I know. All right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Well,
first of all, you're sorry.
No, just I mean, there's say if you have red flag after red flag, red after red flag, and then
okay,
you ignore it, and it doesn't go both ways. I mean, between
right. Okay, this is a multi-layer question. So let me see if I can go. Okay.
I want to hear it.
The reason you cemented your dick somewhere deep. No, but the reason you cemented the relationship with this person, it's either clean, meaning you don't have any past traumas that's still hurtful in you, and she doesn't, or you do, and you are fitting snugly into each other's wounds, which within that time period, as you relax, even though the red flags may come up, it's overlooked because you're really trying to win over or prove something with the last person you were with. So it's almost not that it's a vendetta per se, but it's almost like I'm getting it right this time, although that's not what you're saying. Or I'm going to prove it to me that I can have a relationship, which I think is more your whole makeup. I miss so many things, and so they see it. If you're overlooking a red flag, it has to do a lot of conditioning when you were younger. Tolerating anything is sick. It's like an addiction, in the sense that people think that, oh, this person is really messed up and I'm trying to help them through. Well, no, you're a lot more messed up, because a normal, healthy person sees this as fuck. I'm not going to do it. It's making me unhealthy. First of all, whenever you're with someone who has an addiction, in order to cope, you form your own addiction. You are going to form some kind of an addiction. I don't care if it's looking at a horoscope each day because the person's going to do cocaine and you just got to make sure the way is clear, something. Or you fit into this person because they are a karmic tie. Karmic tie is not the same as you having pain from someone else. Karmic tie is you having had already pain with this person in another lifetime. And the misery is very familiar. And what got you prepped for this relationship is that's the same scenario is already experienced at home. So gets you groomed to feeling that that is a natural feeling. So it's very easy to overlap. So this person, a karmic tie, you recognize them because they don't just stab you in the heart. They dig it and they smash it, and it's like juice. And then even though you're like, then they come step on your face to finish it off. It's very vicious in the sense of energy contamination and narcissists.
Yeah, so you're not like saying that these people are like actually assaulting you.
No, but sometimes a lot of these abusive things are, the person can't help himself. And a lot of times, you ever notice when you have a hangnail that you catch it on a thread?
Yes.
Or a bad toe? When a person has been wounded in their family, really bad, physically abused, they are screaming from the inside, hit me. Now, either the person responds to it and just hits them because he was hit and he turns into the abuser, or the victim, the prey, kind of like when he shouts, she just she doesn't say, fuck off and get out of here. She kind of curls and just like, it's kind of like she's back to when she was 8 and the belt came off and so she will take on the physical attributes of an action that she's frozen in back in time because he raised his voice, and then that will propel him to hit. So that's another reason. The other reasons are red flags can be ignored. I'll give you a reason why I ignored red flags so that people can see it can go with anyone. I think that's really important. And it's a little emotional for me, but it's very important that you know. The reason I'm so on a rant on the media and society fucking like mental fuckery with a girl's mind and trying to make us think that we're not strong, instead of enhancing our feminine divine energy of attracting what we want to us, to indicate to us in our mind and our well-being that life is meant to be easy, we are now stuck in our mind, and the mind tells us we have to work in order to make things happen. And we don't accept a guy's help or a compliment. Oh, take a bath? What? Waste all that money and waste all that time? I can take a shower in 2 minutes flat. That's what a lot of my top executive women are thinking. An athletic woman, being a champion in a couple of sports as I was, and always ambitious, entrepreneur mindset, I live predominantly in my mind, which means that when I met a person who was very creative and did what I couldn't do, the techo part, and loved the value of what I was bringing, even though he was no match on everything I know I can bring as a human being, as a woman, and especially for me in dignity of me being everything he wants and him missing so many things on what I want. He had the one thing that filled a hole of what is most important to a career-minded woman or a sports person, which is satisfying her mind, which is about accomplishment. Now, these women don't just get like this because they go into a sport or they become business people. All of these women, and most of these women, have either been neglected by their dad, or the dad did not have enough time with them, or the dad treated them like a tomboy, and they had to work very hard to even get a little hug or get some time with him. They learn from the get-go that working hard ensures they'll get the little. And so for me personally, though he gave very little and was no match on many other ways, in my mind, I didn't know this was going on at the time. But when people said, you don't stop, it's like you wrote the book, it took 13 years, 4 years to edit. It's like they kicked you out of Starbucks because it was like sunny days and holidays. It's like, get outside, enjoy you're here every single day finishing the book. And I'm like, because people need this. Because in little girl's mind of Nichole, she was thinking, if this book is able to help the world,
Mm-hmm.
maybe my dad will love me and will see that I'm important. Maybe then he'll hold me. Now, he's been dead a long time, so that's going to be tough to do. But that's my drive. And
Right.
so a lot of these women they're working through that kind of tunnel. Now, with the guy, you're going to ignore red flags when you get nurturing from a woman where your mom's, let's just say, emotionally, she was dry as fuck breastfeeding you because it just did not happen. She had no nerve. She was either too self-absorbed, which is narcissistic, or made you feel dumb, or made you feel stupid that you needed it, like something's wrong. So you got the hint, you back the fuck off. So if a woman is very nurturing, but is addictive with something else or has some other problem, you will overlook that because it feeds your greatest hole.
Yeah, I got you. So it can kind of run
You amok.
yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so strange. It's so strange how, like you just said, with your own father, had there been like real, not just like love, but energy, because
Towards that. Because see, for my father, all he cared was about the news because of his country. This is why I had an aversion to my country and to the news. And what's really funny is I end up you know in other words, I was competing with the world, with world events. And
Yeah.
so what I end up doing, what becomes most important for me, is to help the world.
What country?
I'm Israeli, French, and Russian. I was born in Israel near the desert. I'm called
I can't talk to you anymore. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I might be a little hot to handle for most average people.
Israeli, Russian, and what was the second one?
French.
French. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I got you. I got you. So the Israel thing is very. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, because the Israel country is always in a state of war. I don't blame him, but your daughter should not be second to it. But a lot of,
Right.
back then, now I think the dads are into their daughters. Like when I see a dad with a daughter that's 13 at Starbucks taking their lunch together, I have to cry. And I have to go to him. And I'm sure you're going to love your daughter even more today. But what I'm saying is most of these women feel with the more certification and the more accomplishments they get, the better they are. In other words, they are not enough, which is why they suffer from a not enough-itis, to just being who they are. Because if you don't get the father's love to cherish you, keyword cherish. See, all these women are really, I have a lot of clients that are doctors and lawyers and executives, females. And they say, well, I know he respects me because he sees that I've done this. I said, but do you feel cherished? Do you feel cherished inside? Because you see, if you feel cherished, you will feel respected, but you don't necessarily feel cherished if you're respected. Because that's why when you come home and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do for this presentation. He's like, when you get over it, just don't make a big deal. That is not being cherished. That's a guy who's passive as fuck, does not have any emotional calluses because she never let herself be vulnerable to him. He got used to that. So he is not her thick lighthouse in the stormy seas of her menstrual cycle or her emotional life. He's a flimsy lighthouse. Flimsy dicks do not work with me and most women, and they will put up with them. And he'll just, so what these women, they get tired. They feel depleted. See, you can't energize a woman, but she can energize you. If her fountain of water is
why can't I energize a woman? I'm very
Because a woman is not inspired by a man. A man is inspired by woman.
I think they can be.
A woman can be inspired by the deeds that you do, but the love, which is what she runs, this is why a woman will always do a cause for love. She will do an organization. That's her driving force, love. But inspiring a man to do anything, yes, you can be her cheerleader. Yes, you can be a solid support and you can intellectually and emotionally support her. But a woman, when she is strongly anchored in herself as a woman, is a great inspirational force to the world at large and to her man. For no man knows the strength of what he's capable of until he looks into the eyes of the woman he loves. Now, the reason why you're having a bit of resistance with that is because you are very highly in tuned, and you have a lot of creativity. So you're very teetering on the feminine energy. So you're not going to understand why you can't give the emotional support. Yes, but biologically, it's just not the same. But you see, you will attract a woman that will need your nurturing to inspire, because your feminine energy will be a lot stronger than hers. And her masculine energies, where you're not comfortable working in, let's say, this template and this template, because you need your freedom and your creativity, that's where she will feel much better in a structured world.
So what you're saying is,
and you also have to understand that people's, once they hit a certain age, nature, she kind of tricks us, because the women's testosterone gets higher. They become more aggressive, more interested in work and drive, and they don't want small talk. Where the guys start to be, because estrogen is going up, they start to be interested in gardening and poetry and songs and really patiently, really getting to know each other. It just and not just fucking hard, but she wants to just fuck hard to release her stress at that point, because she's menopausal. It's like, it's really funny. It just, the whole thing switches. So it really depends where you are in your life.
No, I follow. I really do. It makes total sense. It does. I mean, initially, you have the attraction, which, can be a multiple different energies. You have sight and smell and all that, and everything is coming together. And then you have the war within, which can be waged.
It's a landmine.
Psychologically, like a tug of war. And then you bring in the past.
Well, it's not that you bring it in, it's that you get sucked back there, which robs you of the present. And you are in your mind really talking to the energies of the other person with the stand-in right now. That's why a lot of guys who have mommy issues, when they're yelling or when they're upset with the woman that is strong and like really to the T and just wants the best, she's just asking a simple question, but he feels, he might say something like, what do you think, I'm a piece of shit? I don't know anything. I have nothing and you have all this. Like she never attacked him of that, but in her strength, there will come a moment where he will be triggered by her efficiency or what he's lacking, and he will feel not good enough, because somewhere he was put down by his mother. She didn't build him up the way a mother's supposed to do to a guy. She kept him dependent on her, or she used him as a surrogate husband.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Women can really destroy. They can, if I can do a special on just mothers, they can really destroy the seed of a man. They
parents,
the emptiness,
motherfuckers, right?
Well, but it's up to each human. I just think it's a lot tougher for a man who has a really empty, who never got nurturing from a feminine energy mother, He's going to need it from his partner as a mother 80% of the time and lover 20%. So she's eventually going to feel drained because he's going to be too clingy emotionally. It's not that he has to be by her hip, but she's going to feel that he can't do his own thing, everything's together and whatever. And plus he gets jealous when she starts expanding because she could leave.
Yeah.
And you see, and you can always tell where you are also, Jason, because, and I'll give this also to your people, and this is especially for the
people.
Yeah, for your guys to know, when your woman is upset, first of all, don't tell her to calm down. Don't use the C word. Oh, you don't even think that. Oh, and don't put your hands on her shoulders and use the R word, like relax. Don't, because she's like a volcano with boobs at that point. She'll, like, if she's mad, do not fucking touch her. Do not fucking touch her on her wrist, shoulder, or behind her low back or her knee, all our sexual hotspots, because we don't want to give at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
And at that point, most men are like, relax, calm down, tell me what's wrong. She doesn't know what's wrong because there's too many things going at her, because a woman is predominantly estrogen based, and that's a feeling hormone that processes and absorbs feelings daily. So in the morning when you left her, she was like a daisy. Then on the way to work, she sees some guy pushing to get out of the way, some old lady who falls down, breaks half her face, and she's like, oh, God, what an asshole. And then she goes to work and she sees her boss cupping a feel of the 17-year-old's ass. And she's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Do I say something? Do I not? So that energy gets onto her. And then her best friend calls her and says that her husband's had an affair with a nanny who's like older than her or some ridiculous. Damn. And then you so sweet that you are thinking about your love, and you're like, hey babe. And she's like, what? And you're like, is this a bad
I want
timing?
some hibachi.
And she's like, what? And so she's going to snap at you because she's collected like stamps all this energetic business. And so when a woman is upset, don't ask her what's wrong, because she's collecting other people's feelings. She doesn't know. Just tell her, talk to me, tell me. And don't be standing there thinking you got to do something at 10. And I hope this will like go fast, because it means you'll be vacant. You'll have to do this in 2 weeks, where she brings it up again. And you're like, but we talked about this already. I don't understand why you're still mad, because the energy didn't transfer. She needs to talk and talk. And for those guys who haven't done this in a while, that could, the first talk could take an hour and a half. So don't do it like just before a game, because she's going to go on all kinds of tangents. She's going to start with something that happened 14 years ago with her dad. And then it happens with her brother. Then eventually she'll get to you. But it's all related at this point. And then when she's finishing and she's like, just say, and what more do you want to tell me? Until she has nothing to say, because then she's going to be like in a rinse cycle. And she's going to, like when clothes are wet and dirty, they're soiled and heavy. When we have all these emotions and words for us carry weight. So when we have a scene or someone says something, it's heavy. It's like you guys wearing like a 25-pound dumbbell around your neck and carrying it all day. Unless we say, and that's why when girls talk, we don't talk with commas. It's like a runaway train with lips. We have to get it all out. Then we feel lighter. Mm-hmm. So an anti-tool depressing kit, like if a girl, an antidepressing toolkit would be to get her out of her head, which means you have to ignite all her senses. That means give her something visually pleasing to see. Mm-hmm. Have something that she hears musically or nature sounds. We know taste does it. And with men, usually that will predominantly, if they're more of a feminine energy, they will satisfy their senses through taste with what feels soft. Hard things are not good for us at this point. Later on, try back later. But right now, we want soft and cuddly things. We want like many color sprinkles on ice cream. We need to see beautiful colors and things. We need to hear beautiful things. We need to touch, whether it's an animal or something soft. We need to smell lavender and bubble bath and things like that. We need that mystical experience to disconnect from our head and get into the sensualness of the body. Our estrogen energy will rise and make us feel a well-being, and we won't be upset anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty heavy.
It's heavy, but it's fun, you know, and the other thing is remove the female out of the room where she's upset, because the energy is in there. You ever notice, I'm going to go play basketball, or I'm going to go walk down the street. You know why the walk helps? Because you're out of the room where the energy of hate is.
Yeah. Point taken. Write that one down. No, I understand.
Yeah, that's in the book too. It's more detailed there and explains it more thoroughly. But I'm sure your audience is very quickly picking up a lot. And if they're missing anything, just go to Amazon.ca and get the book, or go to my site, or ask me directly a question. I invite all your audience to go to my videos. And if you have a personal issue, I will do a whole vid on that.
Right. No, I've noticed that. I've noticed that you answer people, and, this is
it's the best
Nichole
part.
Kolman, a message in a bottle YouTube videos. And I've noticed that, like, now I can't think, are the YouTube videos completely different than the Instagram videos? You do those separately, right?
No, they are more or less the same ones. Okay. Yeah, they are the same, but not all the videos on the YouTube channel, because they're more dense in information and they're more than 7 minutes for those that I get really deeply involved, so that people go, yeah, that's my issue. That's my issue. If I put that on Instagram, they'll go, that's my issue. But what, she left out the part, what the fuck to do. Well, that's on the YouTube channel because it's longer. Yeah.
Okay. I got you. Yep.
It's a safer bet. Yeah.
So going back to the very, very beginning of our conversation.
Yes.
You said that there were 5 Ds. And I don't remember, maybe I did. What was 4 and 5? Because we all know what 3 dimensions is, but for the 4th and the 5 of dating, right? Okay,
so when you're looking at the 4th dimension, is not a place you kind of want to. It's kind of like an in-between place. It's why it's best to go right to the 5D. The 3D, we're definitely anchored in pain. And we're hanging on to the idea of struggle and frustration, and we get triggered because our lizard brain, which operates. That's why a lizard is so prehistoric, because it can only survive. The 4th, I would have to do a lot more research in order to answer that thoroughly. I just do know, you know how when someone transcends, and for those that are interested in dead people and talking to them, I have a vid on that, because I do talk to them, and I teach you how exactly yours communicate to you, so you recognize it. Because in the people that I have met that thought they were gone, they were in such a deep state of depression, and when things were pointed out and they went on their own way and they came back, it's like, oh my God, it exactly happened like that. Yeah. And then this, and I'm like, yep, connected.
So you also
talk to dead people.
Well,
I don't believe, I know. I am telling you, Jason, I am telling you, if your portal is open for them to connect, it will happen. And there's many different stages. It's not like they sit on your bed, although I did have one person that had that experience. But they use things, and it's a bit of a lengthy conversation. But yes, it's very much natural. It's very much natural.
My last guest, and I've heard this. I've taken this is even in like a basic intro to psychology course. But, there's theories out there that you are consciousness. You're a level of consciousness, and that never changes. Like from life to life to life. You'll come back, but that consciousness is the same as your previous life and the same as your next life. And you are building towards basically kind of like divinity or perfection. And so when you're talking, so I'm like, you know, if that's the case, then how can you talk to the dead if
It's not
they're
that,
not there?
let me answer that question. Let me answer that
Well,
question.
he did say, he was like, well, you're not talking to them as a dead, but you're talking to their consciousness that is always there.
That's also hard to swallow, but I give a very fast, quick analogy. And I'll do this with you right now. Have you ever, and I'm sure this has happened, have you ever just thought of someone and then they text you? Like,
yes,
they were on your mind, right? And then they text you.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it with, let's just take off the labels for a second. Let's just say your friend popped in your mind and then there was on text, right? I used to do that all the time with my mother growing up and everything. When people pass over, just like the person that texts you, they thought about you, you received it, and they have a phone, so they text you. When a dead person is thinking of you, they will pop in your mind, but they don't have a cell phone, so they'll show it in another way. Here's a few examples. I was sitting here recently on my birthday, and I was thinking of my mom, and I said, oh my God, there's so much love in my heart for her. She was like, that I knew she was there. I've gotten used to think, because I'm thinking about my birthday, what I have to achieve, what more in this, but I'm saturated with love for my mother in my thoughts. I get a text. The text is a collection company from a department store from 12 years ago, asking for my mother front and fucking first and fucking last name. And I am looking, and I couldn't even cry. I'm like, I can never share this fucking moment because mom, fuck, this was awesome. And I never deleted it. And I'm like, Ori Coleman, you still owe us this amount of money. Now, another time, and it doesn't just happen once, another time, I can see you felt that, and that felt good. Thank you for letting me share my sandwich of joy. Because you hate when you share a sandwich and person's like, ew, and I'm like, fuck off, you wasted my sandwich. But another time I was driving on the freeway, and again, I was thinking about when she died and how it happened so sudden. And I said, oh, Mom, do you know how much I loved you? Like, you did a lot of things off. I call it off. I said, but I love you so much, but do you know how much? And then I got interrupted because I was on the left and a car went right in front of me with a license plate. Mom, love you.
Jesus.
So when you get more than now, so what I'm saying to you is that when you start, you see, as long as you are filled with these other pains, you're distracted. Your energies are erratic. You're not still to receive shit. Like your next great idea, your good choice versus bad, this person, whatever. And the media keeps us fucked up with all this media fear shit so that we are not still enough to have our safety, because you will never feel safe in the world if internally you don't feel safe. And you only feel safe if you rest enough and are calm enough. So when you get rid of the inside caca shit, and that's what I hope to do with more and more people, and there's more room for energies to be received, you will notice that you're saturated. First in your mind, you go, oh, I'm thinking about my uncle so-and-so that died, he was murdered, or I'm thinking about, that first girlfriend I had and she got in a car accident. You never ask yourself, gee, why am I thinking about them now? Well, that's why the fuck you're thinking about them now. That is the insight and download I received. It's just like the fucking text you get from someone when they're thinking of you and it comes in your mind. So and as much as you are rattled up about your life, you will still think about are dead people. They will pop up in your mind. At that point, they're saying hi. Now, sometimes electricity goes off and on, weird shit happens. I'm not saying the sofa moves to the other side of the room, but I'm saying you will just, and the other way they get in contact you is when you find unexpectedly, when you're not looking, things that drop out of a drawer that was something very poignant, an old letter, a song. Okay, this is really freaky. I'll tell you really quick. These are for all the ones, my heart, if it had hands, it would hug all the ones that lost their true love, because I did.
Okay.
My true love, after I buried my mother, because he was in another country, doing all the funeral and shit. And then all of a sudden in my mind, I'm seeing pictures like you're looking through an album of every single moment. And I'm asking myself, why am I not accepting him as my husband? I kept saying, no, 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 no. He was a self-made millionaire. I didn't make my millions yet. I was stupid. I didn't say yes because of that. But here's the thing that's interesting. All of a sudden, for no reason, I'm seeing in my mind like snapshots of every single experience I had with him. And I go to the gym to try to take off my stress from the funeral. And I come back and I said, you know what? I'm going to marry him. I don't care. I know I just had this death and I'm whatever. I'm just leaving I'm going back to him. And I came back home and I called and nobody answered because it's different LA, Canada time. And next morning I called and I'm, hi, let me speak to Michael. And they're like, who is this? I said, it's Nichole. Let me speak to Michael. And they're like, Michael Pa. As soon as they said the word Pa, I went mental because they said passed. I said, when did he pass? You know when he passed, Jason? When I saw the vision of the pictures at that exact time, minus the 3 hours or 5 hours 3 hours from California, when he passed. When you die, they say you see your life in pages. I was seeing our life as he passed.
Wow.
But no, I go to the gym after I scream for 3 hours and cry. I have to run out my anger. And I get into the gym and the music's on and I'm on the treadmill and I'm running and all of a sudden the lights go down. Okay, no biggie. These things happen. Everybody stops. All the treadmills go out except mine. It was still running. Now that alone is strange, but I just figured God loves me. He knows I can't stop. I'm crying and I'm running and I'm crying for about a minute and a half. And everybody's like, doesn't know what's happening. Everything's dark except for me and my treadmill. And then all of a sudden, lights go up. Everybody goes back on the machine. All the treadmills are working and the radio goes back on. My guy, Michael, he always used to nickname me. He always used to say to me, you're my dream girl. That's your name. On our certificate, it's just going to be called, you're my dream girl, something like that, right? He always say, you're my dream girl. So the lights go back on. Everybody's on their treadmill. Everybody's back to happy. I'm still running. I'm still crying. The radio's on, only it's a different song. Now they're playing, you're my dream girl. That old song. You're
gonna have to go to the gym after this conversation here.
I'm good, but what I'm trying to say is that it's really hard to convey a story with the impact of, call it synchronicity, I call it magic, in real life form. But when something like that, lights go off, fucking radio goes back on, and it's a different song, and it's like, you're my dream girls. I'm fucking sorry, but dead people are there. I'm just so fucking sorry. If yeah. And so on that one video, I talked to dead people. I explain a little bit more about like the steps involved, but basically it is not any different than a friend that you don't see pop into your mind, and then you get a call or a letter. Email. God, I wish people would write letters. Nobody writes letters these days. This is like so beautiful. I'm like, my next guy, my guy will have to write me letters. That is just a non-negotiable. I decided there's just too much feeling. Do you ever notice your little girl when she was small and made pictures, how it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it was stupid or hideous, that it just gave you so much love because the energy's off the fucking page. It's not the same like she wrote you an email at 8. You know what I mean?
I remember somewhat recently, I wrote a letter with a pen.
Who? To who?
It's just somebody.
Okay.
And I wrote a letter, and it was to a recent ex-partner at the time. And I wrote a letter, and my hand
trembling
hurt so bad. No, just
wow.
because you don't.
Wow, because you're not used to it.
Yeah, you don't write, and also as you're writing, you've got all that energy of the emotions going on and all that.
True.
So like,
so did it cramp on you? Did it cramp?
Oh yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
That's also a magnesium deficiency, and as we get older, we need more.
I'm so jacked up. I mean,
and if you're not sleeping a lot, just so you know, your body will block calcium, magnesium. It blocks calcium for sure. So if you're doing a concentrated thing, it will be like a bit weird. So all that is magnesium minerals. But go on.
But plus I'm diabetic, and I'm taking all kinds of crazy medicines and all that.
Oh,
so
well.
I'm not sleeping, and so yeah. So I know what you mean, but like my life is filled to the brim with what I call synchronicities and magic or whatever. But like I've always I got beat up one time, like jumped, and I was maybe 23, 24, something like that. And I was supposed to be starting a new job like the following day, or
gee, do you think that was a sign? Oh my God.
Well, the thing is like I'm not going to go into much detail, but after that, when I eventually started going to work, because I was supposed to start a new job, and like the people took everything that I had. I had my birth certificate, my social security card.
Why the hell would they want that? Or was it just mixed with everything?
It was in my wallet because I was supposed to be starting a new job. It was like the next day, and so I went in, and they're like, take some time, get that stuff. You look messed up. Relax and come back later.
Yeah.
But I started coming into work, and my schedule was 11 to 8, I think, something like that. But no matter how early I started to go to work, I would always, almost every day, I would always clock in at 11:11.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, and then it just kind of spread to license plates, dollar bills, money. I would see 11:11 on microwaves as you're watching your baked potato bake. You look at the 11:11, and it was like, and still to this day, 20 years later, I still see it. And it's funny. It's also, I'll tell somebody about it, and then they'll start texting me. They're like, "Damn you!" Now they see it.
It has succinct messages.
Mm-hmm.
It has succinct messages, and you can easily Google up 11:11 numerology.
Yeah.
But it's basically a spiritual realm saying that they are surrounding you for protection now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's like Facebook groups dedicated to it and all that. And so I do put a level of, whatever to that. Because, you can look at a clock or whatever at any time. It's just when you look at that time,
it's definitely significant, Jason. It's definitely significant, and there is.
I agree. I do agree. I mean, but I'm just saying, as a devil's advocate, people will say that they're like, "Well, it's just standing out to you because you see." I'm like, "No, dude. It's like I'll look at a license plate, and it's
very hard to speak to a person who cannot see. If someone has never tasted a strawberry, no matter what detail you go into, the fine hairs of the seed or the texture of the skin or the red strawberry taste, they will never be able to understand you if they've never tasted a strawberry, right?
Yeah.
So there's no point talking to these people about what you're seeing and trying to convince them.
Yeah. So the Heyoka, when did you realize? I mean, how did you figure this out? Did you?
Good question. I just answered that question today, so I have it on the tip of my mind. It actually happened. A lot of weird things happened, as I said, all my life. And for those that want to know all of the really cool, really super cool, freaky, and I mean looking at a bunch of dancers when I'm in a film role. I did a lot of TV film. I was a choreographer, and I'm supposed to count 5, 6, 7, 8, and the director says shoot, and everybody freezes and everybody forgets how to move, and nobody knows what's going on, and he's going, let's do it again, and everybody's talking to everybody, and the dance teacher's there with them like, get your shit together, the producer's not going to do many takes, and I already know my line is 5, 6, 7, 8, go, and we do it the second time, and again they freeze, and the third time again we freeze, and the director's going fucking crazy, the dancers aren't moving, all of them are just freezing, and they're not moving, and they're like either forgetting, or it's not even that they're looking at you, they're just like, I say 5, 6, 7, 8, go. On the last try, the person at the very back says, don't look at her eyes, it's her eyes, and everybody kind of tilted. Yeah, and then it was fine. Now, you know, not to speak ill of Medusa, because she was a high priestess, but and Medusa is really cool because she's on all handbags and stuff. But yeah, so it's very interesting. I had a producer that looks a lot like you, except he's Black, who used to, in his day, be a record producer for Lionel Richie and Diana Ross and all the old Motown. He was my client in LA. And as soon as he met me, he said he had a very weird experience with me. And he knows I'm weird. He called me an entity because when he was a little boy, he had 2 angels sit on his bed, 2 boys with wings. And ever since that happened, he had this telepathic way how to get tunes. Okay. So I said, so what does that have to do with me and your weird experience? He says, I'm sitting here next to you and I've never felt the angels' feelings through my body for 52 years, except right now sitting with you. And he told me later that when he watched me go into the car, he had to make sure I didn't get invisible. I felt so powerful. Like I was just so like 23 years old, like what the fuck? But he explained to me, he said, if anybody looks into your eyes with the sun in your eyes or light, they're going to be hypnotized, they won't move. And I'm like, and he also said to me, one day you're going to write a book. I said, no, I don't know big words. He goes, no, you're going to write simple to the masses like Jesus did. And I'm like, okay, but my slang book is that. So here's how I figured this. So there's all these weird experiences. And for those that want like a fun read, go look at my site under the About Me section. It's about, you know, Heyoka Teen, Heyoka in the Big Apple, and in California. A lot of
you
strange
broke up a little bit there. You were talking about the About Me section. It's the Heyoka Teen.
Go to the Heyoka Teen, Heyoka in the Big Apple, Heyoka in LA. There's a couple of pages on all the weird things that happened to me. A couple of months ago, as I was chiseling my website, and for the longest time, I've had clients tell me, Nichole, you're not a trainer, you're a guru. Like, what are you doing? Like, the things you're telling me is deep and it's insightful. Oh my God, I got rid of my shrink. And it's not just young adults, it was my older clients. And I had one professor, law professor, she's in Nova Scotia. She says, Nichole, you got to write your book. The world is waiting for your wisdom. When someone gives you such accolades, you have to be very meticulous in asking yourself, what is it that you say you are? Oh, I'm an insightful person. I'm not going to say I'm psychic because that's only one component. I didn't even know how to describe because I didn't know what a Heyoka is. So I asked myself one day, and when you ask your brain, you will get the right answer. So don't ask stupid, dumbass questions like, why did he leave me? You'll get 44 responses of why he should leave you. So when that happened, I said, what is it that I have? And is it of value? Like, is it just insight or is it something? I know there's wisdom. I know in LA, a lady says, oh, you've got this weird marking here. That's part of the tomb of Solomon. You're going to have a lot of downloads of wisdom. I said, I don't want any of this freaky shit. All that kind of stuff happened to me. All of a sudden, a feather this big dropped in a huge eagle, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think anything of it. And I'm not, you see feathers every now and then, but they're little ones. I'm not a feather or a pebble or a shell picker upper. I'm not into those little nicks and crannies, those little knick-knack thing. But this feather was a huge motherfucker. And I'm like, yo, what does this mean? Why did you fall right in front of me? I didn't just toss it. It felt too important in my hand. So one day goes by, another day goes by, and I'm still thinking, what is it that I do? I know it's different. Too many people for 15 years told me, 20 years, whatever. And as a child, nobody wanted to go around me. That was my parents' friends. When I buried them, I'm like, you guys all hated me. You went to the siblings, the other kids. So we didn't hate you, Nichole. You were a dangerous child. I said, what does that mean? What do you mean I had fangs? What? No, the questions and the things you came out of your mouth. So all of a sudden, I'm on my computer, and I thought I had a text, but I didn't have a text. I had a pop-up, and it said Heyoka. And I went, what the fuck is Heyoka?
Right.
Sounds like a song.
Yep.
And I listened, and I went, oh my God. Oh my God, he's just there. They just talked about 15 traits, if you have him on like the little degree, and I was already over all the degrees and the high degrees of all the things they were mentioning. And then I dove in, and then too many things made sense. Psychic is one thing, but a Heyoka empath is someone that can see the issue, where you're in the dark. They are a mirror, and they also call a Heyoka a sacred clown. And that could be why my rawness, one guy commented on my YouTube channel, I don't know, I said some kind of an F word, but I said it backwards, or I said it in my twist. And he says, oh my God, I was in tears laughing when you said this word, right? And I said, why do people always laugh when I'm trying to be serious? And I punctuate with my F-bombs, and it's creative F-bombs. It's funny to people. And then someone said to me, it's because it's just raw and it's just different, whatever. But so people started calling me Yoda in my teen, Yoda. And I'm like, who is Yoda? I never watched Star Wars. And then I look at this beast with pointy ears and fucking needs moisturizer. And I'm like, that's who you see me as? Is this Yoda, this hideous creature? And then I learned to love Yoda because I understood. So when I say things, I thought I was dyslexic. I can't even see the word dyslexic. I can't even say it. I thought I had a speech impediment because it's not my first country. So when I speak backwards or upside down or reverse order, I would tell people my English, not so good. Then I realized a Heyoka empath talks backward forward. And I feel so much better because I thought I had a mental problem. Yeah, and some...
What I do, it's okay. What I do a lot is I'm not really dyslexic, but whenever I look at a menu or I take an exam or I read a newspaper, something that's not written chronologically, I always go to the back. And
that's
go
interesting.
Forward.
That's interesting.
I never.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, like when I take a test, I'll go to the back and I'll work backwards. It's hard to do that in a chapter book, but
I only look back when I used to browse stores for books. I look to the last paragraph and I read the last sentence or two to decide if I wanted to buy it. Isn't that funny? So in that way, I guess we're similar.
To something that ends like that. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. It had to really,
bullshit.
Climax.
I'm gonna read the last couple sentences of the penis book. SOS
Yes, do that.
Manual.
Do that.
It better be good because I'm gonna read it anyway.
Do that. You'll piss yourself because it will literally my dentist who's in his 50s, at first when he read it, he's like, it's so funny and it's so insightful. But why is there D's all over the place? And I said, oh my God, there's all these typos. What are you talking about? And he says, there's like, you have paragraphs and sentences and you have these D's. And I couldn't understand. I said, D? He says, yeah, capital D's. And I went, oh my God. Okay, tilt your head. Is there a semicolon next to that D? That's a fucking smiley face, you dumbass. And then he goes, oh. And then I inserted actually a glossary with all the emoticons. So I've got sketch bag, douchebag, sketchy, butterface when she looks like her ass and stuff. It's like a lot of fun. So it's very colorful and emotional. When you read it, it's like pictures. But by the time he finished the book, he looked 15 years younger.
Right. Oh,
because you're in your slang. You're in your teeth.
I definitely need to read it.
You're going to, your energy is going to change. And I have to just tell everybody that usually, because my target market is to help young adults extract these painful things and go into the Aquarian age clean. It's a lot easier to do with them because a lot of adults want to hang on to pain. It's just a way of their stuff. They want familiar more than new. And it's a lot more work when I do seminars with them. So I target myself for young adults. But when I saw you, Jason, with that little picture of yours, I didn't even really see on the podcast advertising. I didn't even really see you. I just like, oh, this guy looks like a mad scientist or Einstein or something. I don't know, but it's like, wow, your energy just like slap bitched me in the face. And I'm like, I'm doing him. Oh, yeah. Him and I are going to merge. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But we live so far away from each other.
But there's this
hard.
Visuals.
No, I got you. No. I mean,
whatever. There's this.
No. Like when I saw, like I just did a random search and I was like, okay, yeah,
that's so cool.
This is the one. So let's reach out to her.
Thank you. I love being the one. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm gonna definitely be following you wherever you go because you're fun. You're like. You're animated and you're easy to listen to, and like the guy was saying, imperfections are kind of, what's the right word?
Gloriously flawed.
Well, it's like when you get excited and you say something like that, it's like it's cherished.
Oh,
it just makes it even better. Because you're not scripted, you know what you're going to say because you've thought about it and you've kind of dwelled on it a little bit, but then you just go off the handle and you're just going on and on and on. And it's
I am off the handle. Yes.
When I do something like that, when I decided that I was going to do this, what's scary about doing a live stream and eventually. I'm going to get the technical stuff down to where the live stream will be easier for me. At first, I was like, man, there's no way that I can talk stream of consciousness like that just because.
Sure you can. Oh, fuck yeah.
No, just because I'm like, my ADHD and all that is just so like, I'll just forget where I was going and then it's kind of like pointless. But like, I did a couple and I think. It's kind of like free writing, where if you remember the first few words of what you were talking about, then you can always come back to it. And what the gist of what you were going to say is. So watching your videos, you don't really go all over the place. You do go up and down and hit a lot of points, but it's the actual
it's kind of like hiking an uncharted path.
Right. Yeah. You got a machete and you're slashing through these tall grasses and stuff. And you're like,
Yeah. Oh, that's so
you
well
always have to
put.
every once in a while look behind you and be like, okay, all right, I'm still going the same way. You watch that eagle flying towards the sun. You're
That was
like, all right.
beautiful. Well,
Yeah. And you're,
I have you kind of inspired a thought. Can I share it with you?
yeah.
Okay, you're talking about live stream and some. What's coming to me is I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm jiving with you, and you take a while to absorb and digest thing, and I love that about you because it it makes me appreciate time more, because
Mm-hmm.
once time goes, you don't. And as my teacher always used to say, Nicole, you're like a carton of milk spilt on the table. You need to not just pour it all out. Even when I used to dance, like for gigs and then movies, everyone would be like, okay, we're rehearsing, and Nicole would go full out because I don't know how not to do full out. So you really helped me cherish the
Mm-hmm.
moment and squeeze all the life out of it. And I'm thinking, how could we together give more to all his intense listeners sitting and like leaning into the screen right now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling? And I just thought, as you were talking about live, I don't know if you have a Facebook, I don't know if you have other followers on another media, but if there is a different platform where you could put like example, for example's sake, Facebook, if we did a virtual event, you can let all your listeners and your followers give them a clip of a highlight of ours. Make sure it's a
Yeah.
high intense climax. If that's the case, a long one, multiple my
Yeah.
way, and just give a clip and just ask. I'm taking a poll. Would anyone like a live 2-hour show where Nicole, as a Heyoka empath, can give her insights,
Mm-hmm.
psychic insights, whatever, to any issue that you have? And if we have a bunch of people, we would make it an event. We would charge a
Yeah.
nominal fee. We would do a percentage split, and let's see how that is.
Well,
It
you're
could be a
kind of
guy only after,
overestimating
and it could
my
be a guy only girl ending. It can be so many things.
you're overestimating my the power of my viewership. Well, not that, that's the wrong word. The my I'm very new at this. I think this what's really cool about this medium is it goes on, like, actually the way that I have it set up is if I want to do a live stream, I can do it on as many different platforms as I want to at the same exact time. I have this
Okay, so
thing.
where's the problem?
Well, the problem is I just started. So
Okay,
I
so it would be we'd gather people first.
well, the thing is what I was going to say is what's beautiful about this kind of thing is this stuff lives on. So I don't know if like, you know, you'll have all your videos on and you're like, man, that video that I did, you know, 6 months ago is still getting hits. You know, that's because people are just now finding out about you
True.
and
True.
they're
Yeah.
absorbing
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
you've
True.
done.
True.
So what's awesome about this is, like the same with my guest from last week, is he was very good. You know, you are very good.
Thank
I'm
you.
just starting out at the speaking thing. I'm still kind of mush mouth and all that. So like it's a work in
Actually,
progress.
it is you that is undermining how and who you are,
Bless you.
because I am
Bless you.
picky as fuck. No, really. That's your own other things.
Yeah.
We can delve in another time. I'm
Yeah.
letting you know what I see that can fly. You can keep that in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
know
I
where to reach
appreciate
me.
that. I appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
absolutely.
that's something that I work on. But my point is, this is just starting. So, you know, I've got
Awesome.
people, I've got other people lined up coming up, and as soon, like, one thing, you know, you were talking about, like, you were scratching at your website. That's one of my worst areas is keeping up with that stuff. Even social media. I'll go post a picture. Yesterday I had a session of cupping. You know what that is?
Yes, I know what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I some people don't. So it was my first session ever, and I just put that on Facebook, and it's like I didn't really have any explanation or anything. You know, it's like my website, I haven't touched it in forever, and I need to make time to keep that stuff up. But anyway, yeah, I like your train of thought. You're working with other people that you like.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
like
very,
the most
very
important
picky.
thing.
No, I'm very picky. I just wanted to leave you with that little thing because I have to get ready for my next show.
Yeah.
I am a little bit late, but it's okay. They'll understand. I've already texted them.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that I've really so thoroughly enjoyed you.
Oh,
And
I
I hope
know.
your audience, and I'd love to hear how they responded. And please send me the link and the date when it is, because I'll do all I can to promote it as well.
I appreciate you. Yeah. I will keep in touch. You know, we're friends now. And I'll definitely fill you in on everything. It's been such a great time. I mean, I'm not shitting you about that. Your website is www.Nichole with an H, NicholeKolman.com. The Instagram is the same with an underscore at the end.
Yes.
YouTube, just Google A Message in a Bottle, Nichole Kolman.
Yeah,
And
a lot of information there, a lot.
yes, I know. I'm still watching stuff, and the big book is The Wisdom of the Penis, SOS Manual, and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna go to the back page and read the last couple sentences, and then I'll read the whole thing.
Yeah, they should know, and you should know that the book was designed, I'll say this really quick, as your own private oracle, which means,
oh wow,
yes, no, and a girl actually who just bought the book, she had she decided to film her, because the second or third page, the book instructs you to, it says to you, ask, what am I in the dark about? What do I need to see right now that I'm not seeing? Then randomly open it and look on your left hand where your thumb is and start reading. She did this live. She went fucking crazy, bawled her eyes out. At first yeah, you should check it out. It's on the home page. I went, oh my God, this is so raw and authentic. Because first she's reading, she goes, oh, this is cute, haha. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, and then she flooded. And so the book is set up as your own private oracle because I wanted everybody to feel like they were never, ever without an answer in their darkest time. That's what I'm most proud of this book. Yes.
Well, Nichole, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful that you responded to my message and that you've been so nice and helpful. Thank you for putting up for my messages today.
Absolutely. Things happen. No, that's okay.
Well, I mean, this is great. I love talking to you. So
we'll keep in touch. You let me know how things are going. If any of your people are sending you questions about, let's say they're going through you to reach me to do something, maybe they're a little timid, please just let me know, because my goal is to meet everybody's expectations that are in, well, when I say that, anyone that is in a dark place, I will find a way to get them out. That's my forte.
And I also think that this conversation isn't over. I think here in a couple weeks or a couple months or whatever, we'll get back together and do another episode and talk more.
Yes, most likely.
But you go and talk to some more people, blow some more people away with your words. And, I just now, are you single?
Yes. Why is every single man asking me if I have a boyfriend or if I'm married? No one quite said it like the single, but yes. Yes, the word.
No, I just wanted to, it was a throwback to what you were saying earlier. But thank you so much, Nichole.
Okay.
And you have a very good the rest of the week and your show coming up. And we'll talk soon.
Okay, sweetheart. Thank you. Mwah.
All right, bye.
Give my love to your daughter. She will. She will steal the fucking book off you.
I'll send
Okay,
you some
dude?
videos from her. She's an amazing
Yes.
singer.
Yes, and do the video on the oracle question of you. That would be great for me.
Okay.
Test it.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.